Hello, I'm Donna Tornillo. I'm the Clarity Creator, and I'm also the membership ambassador for the Brand Builders Club, and it's a true honor for me to be doing this. I have reached out to some of my networking groups and some of my friends that are entrepreneurs, and I asked them, what is the most important thing that you need to know about building a business? And I am so fortunate to have Sammy Blindell here, who is the founder of the Brand Builders Club, to help answer some of these questions. So Sammy, I'd like to start first with the question of entrepreneurs, small business owners, people like me. It's not easy to do everything on our own. It's all by ourselves. And sometimes you can feel really alone with so much to do. So what are the steps for growing a successful business that doesn't make you feel like you're overwhelmed or burned out?
Yeah, that's really, really awesome question, Donna. Thank you. Whoever asked that, you have big thumbs up from me.
Yes.
There are really, there are so many things you can do. And I learned the hard way because I built 6 companies before I built this one, how to build a brand. And then we launched the Brand Builders Club last year. So that's 8 companies in total. So I learned a thing or 3 about how to really build a business rather than a busy mess. And believe me, I've been there and I've built that. And so, and as a result of that, I had 5 companies running at the same time and I really burned out from stress. So I want to make sure that the people that are out there right now that are listening to your interview and this recording are not doing the things that I did and making those painful mistakes, that it's painful. And so I really found that there are 4 things when you're really building something that, when, like you say, you're alone and when you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, I know I want to make a bigger impact. I know that I want to change more lives than just one at a time. I know that if I'm just exchanging time for money, there's a cap on that. There's only so much time. There's only so much time I can sell, which means there's only so much money I can make from that time. So when I'm building something and I want to support more people, how do I do that when it is only me? And how do I do that without burning out? And so the first of the 4 things that I've really worked out and mastered is having a really good strategy. Because ultimately, it's easy to set goals, isn't it? It's easy to set intentions and create a vision board. It's easy to do those things. It's fun. But then life gets in the way and other things get in the way. The kids need feeding, clients need to be seen, work needs to be delivered, accounts need to be done, marketing, sales. Whoa, hang on a minute. That can create overwhelm. and overwhelm can lead to feeling paralyzed too. Maybe you've found that in your business. I know I definitely have. When it just seems like there's so much to do, you almost feel paralyzed with the amount. How do you really do it all? And so having a really good strategy for the victory is hugely important. And so strategy is that number one thing. How do you ensure that the goals you set are achieved? And I find that there are many different types of strategies that are important, but none more than when you are planning to scale. There are certain strategies you need to put in place. We don't have time to talk about today, but you really need to focus on that. And I would say that one of the biggest elements of your strategy to focus on is what is happening in your industry and how is it going to change in the next 100 years? Because what you're creating isn't just about you anymore. And the minute that you start serving other people, then that's the minute that you need customers, the minute that you want more money, you want more of those things and you want to build your business, then you're going to need more customers to achieve more money or less customers paying more to achieve more money. But at some point, it's going to factor some customers. So how is the industry changing and what strategy do you need to make sure that you can cope with the changes, that you are ahead of the changes and in many ways leading the changes so that you're the one that is, the thought leader behind what you do. And in many cases, when you have the right strategy for that, then it makes a lot of sense to you. Then it's much easier to achieve the goals. It's easier to know the who and the how. It's like when you get so focused and you don't have that strategy in place, it's easy to look at it and go, oh my God, I don't even know how to start. How to start? What do I need to do? How do I start? Well, just switch those 3 letters around and turn it from how to who. and who can help you, who has the idea, who has done what you've already achieved, and how can you really take that further. So a good strategy will really help you to master that. And the second thing is really thinking about who do you need to support you. So this comes a bit into the who as well. So once you know what it is you want to do, then having the who around you is really essential. And as a small growing business, you may not have a team, and you may not started outsourcing yet, or maybe you have started outsourcing and you had a bad experience, and so it stopped you, and now you're back to doing everything yourself again. So when you're growing something, having that support team around you, so that you build your dream with a team, but the right team. How do you attract those people, and how do you eliminate the need for more people? How can you automate or systemize the customer journey so that you don't have to rely so much on people and you can rely on systems? But what systems should you use, and how should you do that? They're big things that we really answer. Mm-hmm. The third thing is getting really super clear on how you're going to scale it. So when you're growing something of importance and you want to scale your income, but you haven't got hours to scale, how do you do that? So how can you create products and services that ensure that your message and your brand is out there making money, even when you're asleep, even when you're serving, when you're having fun, when you're on holiday? But what are some of the scaling strategies you need to put in place to make that work for you? And finally, the fourth thing is really the success strategy behind that. How do you, really get smart around building what you're building? And for me, the smartest way to do that is to surround yourself with brand ambassadors, people who love what you're doing, that believe in your vision, that share the mission, and will be the greatest champion of you, even when you don't feel like championing yourself. So, having that mastermind team, having accountability, having people around you that can support you in achieving the goals. And I've found that in every business that I've built, when I've got those four key things totally in place, and really mastered them, when I've got names against them, when it becomes more real then, and it's not just a vision board anymore. It's dates with deadlines. It's your power team that are really driving you. They're your energizer bunnies. They're your battery when the battery's running low, which it can do, especially when you work on your own. It can be lonely in business on your own. It is. So you need to have that source. It's kind of going back to source. So who you have around you is hugely important. And I'd say that would be the key thing, is you get those four things right. I mean, there's a lot of variations in those, and each business is different. But when you get those four things right, then really you're on the right highway. You're on the super highway.
Well, I was making my own notes while you were speaking, Sammy, because I loved what you said, and the fact that you talked about strategy. And I love that you said that we are our thought leader, because we are what we are in our own business. And then it's our team, our systems that all lead to number 4, success, and following that. So thank you so much for that. That was, and I'm keeping my notes right here. I love that. So after what you said, what do you think is the most important thing we need to consider when thinking about growing a successful business? As an entrepreneur,
Great
someone
question.
like me, solo entrepreneur, or not, maybe I do have staff later on my team, but what's the most important thing that I need?
I would say the most important thing for any solopreneur, entrepreneur, business owner, corporate company, I mean, this applies to every business. Doesn't matter how large or small, or how many people you've got, how big or tiny it is, what sector you're in. This applies to every person. And I touched on it at the beginning when I started to answer the first question, would be really think about how your industry is changing. Step into your ideal customer's shoes, step into their position, feel what it's like to feel, hear what it's like to hear, see what it's like to see from their position. Because the challenge that we have most often is that we've already solved the problem. Our ideal clients are many times us before we solve the problem. But now we've solved the problem, we're not relating in the same way. And so people look at us and say, well, it's all right for you because But hang on, like, we were exactly where you were. And if I can do it, you absolutely can do it. You know, it's easy to say, oh, well, you built 6 companies. It's okay for you. You already knew what you were doing when you grew this business. Well, I didn't know when I first started, but I know a lot now that I can cut someone else's experience by about 22 years and take them straight to the heart of what they need to do and cut them through all of that BS and hard work and mistakes and pain and getting ripped off and left broken by people because you want to do well. And, you know, building your own business, it's your baby. You're emotional about it. And when you're emotionally connected to something, you're not always in the right state to make the right decisions to be able to grow. So having people around you that can really, you know, give you that poke and say, hey, you're thinking about you rather than the customer. And that's every day, even from established business owners, I'm seeing this all the time. And you know, it's a case of, you know, really step into that person's world. What are they feeling? And not only that, what are they feeling now? If you were to step yourself 100 years into the future, or even 10 years into the future, you know, 12 years from now, we're going to be a completely different world. You know, daily the world is changing. But what about in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years from now? How's your industry going to have changed then? Who will you need to be, and how will you need to show up to support your customers in the way that they need it? We've got artificial intelligence that's coming in, virtual reality. Wow. There are all kinds of things. You know, you think even Facebook conversations now can be controlled by bots, chat bots. You don't know if you're talking to a human or if you're talking to a human, right? Somebody that's made some decisions that has thought of every way that conversation can go and programmed in a system. So, you know, with the way things are going, things are speeding up quickly. And especially when you're in the world of serving and you're taking your intellectual property, the stuff that you've learned that's kind of rattling between your ears, the treasure chest that you've got to open up and let it out. You know, how's your audience going to change? I'd really encourage you to think about that, and think about, you know, some of the ways that you're going to need to change now, so you're evolving before any of your competitors are. And as I said at the beginning, you know, be the thought leader, be the change that you want to see in the world, be the brand you want to see in the world, because otherwise, you know, you're just going to be living someone else's dream.
I love what you said, and I really love, sometimes we do forget that our focus is the customer and being the best service to that customer that we can be. And sometimes we lose touch because we think, well, I know what they need, but we haven't asked them. And I really
Right.
love how you say that stay in touch with your customers because they are the best supporters of you and how to expand your business.
They're your next generation of brand ambassadors, aren't they?
Absolutely.
They're the ones that are going to go out and tell everyone about you.
Yes. Well, Sammy, I really appreciate your taking the time because I know that there is so much going on, and members days and accountability groups within the Brand Builders Club. And that's only 2 of the things that happen.
That's just
and the wonderful Brand Builders Club with the sprints and so much to learn. And I really appreciate your taking the time right now to share it with us. So,
it is my pleasure.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you soon, right?
Well, I'm looking forward to, I'm coming over to America very soon and delivering this. And so, Donna, if you could share the links with this video of how people can find out how to learn this stuff, the stuff that we've been talking about today. You know, how do you partner? How do you scale? How is it when you're running your business and you're thinking, well, it's just me. How the hell do I do all this on my own?
Exactly.
How do you put the right systems in place? How do you even start automating? Are you scared of automating because you're thinking, well, hang on, I don't want to become this impersonal customer experience. I want my customer experience to be really, you know, unique, and I want my customers to feel like I'm there for them. And that's the interesting thing is, as I've grown this business, I had somebody say to me last year, oh, well, you know, if I learn about systemizing, if I systemize my whole business, then, you know, then I'll lose touch with my customers. And I said, it's completely the opposite. I've systemized and automated as much as I can so I can be there more for my customers. Now I'm not doing all the little tasks. I'm not doing all the $5 stuff. I've got a system that's handling that for me. And my Brand Builders Club members, as Donna, I'm sure you'll be able to confirm this, I'm there all the time. I'm able to show up because I've got everything else handled. So
yes,
if you want to learn how to do that so that you can make your progression plan, you can get your strategy right, get your sales processes in place, put the right systems in place to free you up, and then you'll be able to scale it. Come down and spend the day with us. We're gonna have an awesome lot of fun, and I'm so in love with the results that I'm seeing that are happening globally.
Yes, I know. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be part of the Brand Builders Club. It's just been so expansive and wonderful for me personally, but also for my business. So I want to thank you, Sammy, for creating this amazing thing and this amazing community. So I look forward to seeing you
And I
across
look
the
forward to
pond
seeing
very
you.
soon. So,
Yes, yes.
and thank you again for your time. And
It is my absolute pleasure.
yes, and we'll talk soon. Mwah.